3 years. That's how long it took me to finally sit down with this watch. Not because I forgot about it, and not because it isn't interesting. The opposite, actually. The Kurono Tokyo Calligra 34 special project sold out instantly when it dropped back in February 2024. And getting hands-on time with one? Not easy. And I've said this before, but I'm not reviewing something I haven't actually worn. That matters to me. And here's the funny part. For a watch this good, there's basically nothing out there on it. No reviews on YouTube that I could find, which tells you everything you need to know. People didn't ignore it. They just couldn't get one. But I managed to track one down. Yes, I know this review is 3 years too late, but stick with me here, because this piece really captures what Kurono Tokyo is all about. And if you're thinking about picking up a future release, a lot of what I'm about to say will still apply. So as a watch fan, sit back and enjoy the video, because you're in the right place. This thing is seriously beautiful, so let's talk about it. Before getting into the watch itself, we need a bit of context. Kurono Tokyo exists because of Hajime Asuoka. If you're even slightly into independent watchmaking, you already know the name. The guy makes insanely high-end hand-finished watches under his own name. Beautiful, but completely out of reach for most people. Kurono is his way of bringing that design language down to earth. Same eye for detail, same obsession with balance and proportion, just built using industrial production and outsourced movements. So the price doesn't go into the 5 figures. I actually visited their salon in Tokyo last year. Small space, very calm, very Japanese in the best way. The staff, very welcoming. No attitude, no pressure. And the watches, honestly guys, photos don't do them justice. They're just right. And that's exactly what this Calligra is. Let's get the basics out of the way. 34mm case size, 41mm lug-to-lug, and 9.6mm thick. On paper, that sounds tiny. And yeah, it kind of is. But that's the point. This is leaning hard into vintage proportions. Not vintage inspired in a vague marketing sense, properly scaled like something you'd see from the 1940s or 50s. Polished steel case, slim step bezel, clean lines. It came in 3 versions: silver white, dark mother of pearl, and this one, the stark black. I'll put the others up on screen right now because they're worth seeing as well. And I'm curious what you'd pick. And later on, I'll tell you which one I prefer. Now the dial. This is where everything happens. And I don't say this lightly. From a design standpoint, this dial is almost flawless. No date, full symmetry, everything sits exactly where it should. The black surface has this glossy, almost bottomless look. We've got a printed railroad minute track, and then those numerals. These aren't off-the-shelf Breguet numerals. They were drawn specifically for this watch. And you can tell, they follow this perfect circular rhythm around the dial. We also have the heath-blued syringe hands. Beautiful, rich, and very classic. And then towards the center, there's the subtle inner ring, almost like a sector dial, but toned down. Just enough to break the space so it doesn't feel empty. Kurono logo, automatic, all done in a typeface that actually matches the numerals. These small details make a big difference. But it's not perfect. And this is where I go back and forth. I like blued hands, I really do. But on a black dial like this, legibility takes a big hit. Straight on, in certain lighting, the hands kind of disappear. The hour and minute hands are also similar enough in size that I sometimes have to pause for a second before being able to tell the correct time. I find myself tilting the watch just to catch the blue properly, or relying on the different contrast of the lume more than I expected. It's not a deal breaker, but it's a real problem. Over the dial, you've got a domed sapphire crystal. Flip it over, solid steel case back, nothing fancy. Push-pull crown, 50 meters of water resistance. enough for daily wear. But this isn't a watch you take swimming anyway. Inside is the Miura 90S5. Beats at 4 Hz, about 40 hours of power reserve, rated at 10 to plus 30 seconds per day. This one running at minus 4 seconds, which actually is pretty solid. And if you know these movements, you know they can be regulated tighter if someone takes the time. So no, it's not an exotic movement, but it's reliable. And in a watch like this, I think that's fine. Now the watch comes on a black leather strap with white stitching. Looks good, safe choice. I swapped it immediately though. I prefer wearing it on the Stan cowhide leather strap. I think it works really well with the watch, at least to my eye. Now size. Let's be honest. 34mm on my 6.5-inch wrist feels small. Not unwearable, but definitely small. It leans very vintage, almost to the point where it disappears. And maybe that's intentional. This isn't a watch that shouts. It doesn't grab attention from across the room. You have to look at it up close. That's when it clicks. Still, I can't help but think 36, maybe 37mm. Same design, just a touch more presence. I think that would have hit the sweet spot for more people without losing the character. Now the tricky part. Price. Retail for this watch was about $1,200 US, before taxes and shipping. And yeah, this is where opinions split. If you look at it purely as a spec sheet, it doesn't make sense. Microbrand, Miura movement, time only, no complications. You can get similar mechanical specs for a lot less. But that's not really what you're paying for. You're paying for the design, the dial work, the proportions. The fact that this comes from Hajime Asaoka's world, even if it's the more accessible side of it. Objectively, as a product alone, I'd probably say it's expensive. But collecting isn't objective. I don't think a Rolex Oyster Perpetual with a yellow dial is worth 10 grand either. Still want one, same idea here. As a collector piece, limited, hard to get, tied to a respected independent watchmaker, yeah, I get it. These are all sold out. Production numbers were never officially stated, and the watches are not numbered. But try finding one now. It's not easy, and if one shows up, I'd expect the price to be significantly higher than retail. That's just how it goes. So which one would I pick? Honestly, the dark mother of pearl. Didn't expect that going in, but it has this depth that the others don't quite match. The black is probably the most classic, the silver is the cleanest, but the mother of pearl, I think that one is the most special. If you agree and you're thinking about picking one up, good luck. You're going to need it. Anyway, that's my take. This isn't a watch chasing specs or trying too hard to stand out. It feels measured, nothing extra, just a clear time-only dress piece that's executed well. And sometimes that's enough.